think I'm live? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, yes, I am. Ah! Ta-da! Okay. All right. I guess rebooting it helped. So, sorry for those that were waiting. I am very, very, very sorry. We're back, and I'm just gonna leave it at this view so I can do the demo. Hopefully, if you missed the initial setup, then we're here. The camera is not frozen. I'm so happy. I'm not going to change any settings because we don't want to jinx anything, right? So I'll go ahead and show you how we do this before the whole tech thing here just croaks. Sonia, you're back. Yes. All right, let's try this. It's you and me, all right? So I have my flower from last week. And remember, I glue basted the center circle on top of the flower. And remember, we didn't baste the edges, right? The bottom edge of the flower. So we actually just glue basted the center right on top, right? Hello! Oh, Deborah's back! Yay! Woohoo! And Kathy's back! Whee! Hooray! Ah, camera's working. I'm gonna go through this really fast before something goes wrong. All right, so I'm gonna grab a contrasting thread. For this one, I'm not using a milliner's needle because I want a needle that's not too bendy when I do this. But you're more than welcome to do your favorite needle that you prefer. So I'm gonna do my Clover Black Gold applique size 10 needle here, and I just have regular black thread, and I chose black thread just to try to get a contrast so you can see what I'm doing, right? So you obviously want to choose a thread, pick a thread that's going to kind of blend with your fabrics, not something that's going to stand out or stick out like this. Lori, you made it back. You found us. Woohoo! Exciting. Yay. Oh my god, I don't know what it is. I think all these the tech gods are tasting my testing my patience and my perseverance. But we shall not give up, right? Ugh. Okay. So I'm not fiddling with any of the settings now. I'm just going to leave this as is just so that we can get this recorded. Ah. So I have a piece of black thread here, and I have a little knot on the end because I don't want it to unravel as I sew. And so I have my glue basted circle to my flower petals. Nothing is sewn together yet. Only the petals are sewn together, right? So what I want to do, so this is what I kind of consider EPP applique. It's like a mix in between. You know how for some EPP shapes, they actually have you baste or applique something on, and then you have to come into the back and cut out the fabric to remove the papers. This method, the EPP applique method, by moi, you don't have to worry about cutting into fabric to remove the papers afterward, and you can leave the papers in your rounded shapes like the petals and the center here so that you get that nice crisp center instead of removing the papers before you sew them together, right? So all the papers are still in. That's the key to EPP applique. And so I'm going to take my thread. I'm just doing single thread because we're just going to sew these together, right? No double thread. So what I want to do is I want to come up in between the petal and the center. And if you hold up your flower after you glue baste it, then you can kind of see, I don't think you'll see it here. You'll see the slight little edge here where the papers are meeting, which is really nice. So you should be able to come up without any resistance. See how my needle comes up there really easy? Let's do sideways. Yeah. So it's coming up in between the paper edges of the petals and the center. So I'm just gonna start here. Well, yeah, doesn't matter where we start. So I'm just gonna come up. So I've only come up through the petal. Look at that. And then I want to come up through the center circle. And I just go in through the edge. Right there. So now I'm going to let it lift just so you can see where I'm coming up. So come in a little bit from the edge and come out right at the edge of the circle. And then we secure it. And then you can go back down into the petal like so. Move that thread away. And in the beginning, this might feel a little awkward because it's obviously something you're not used to, right? But as you get more practice, what you can do is actually just come up through the back, straight up through the edge of the circle. So you skip a step, right? It's just combined into two. Oh, let me see. See, I came up through the petal fabric seam allowance in the back here, straight up into the edge of the center circle. Susan made it back too. Yay! And Julia, hooray! Hooray, hooray! And then I just go down very, very close to where I came up, and I can just bend my paper a little bit and just come straight up. So this is kind of just like applique. If you're used to it, this will come very quickly to you. I just wanted to make sure I showed the steps broken down, and then the more practice you get, as I said, this gets much quicker. And as always, remember, you're welcome to bend your papers. Even if you want to reuse them, you can bend them and crease them and just press them flat after. So this is super quick. And I'm just feeling the edge, the little gap in between the edges of the petal and the center circle to kind of rock my needle and come up right in the edge of the center here. After I go back into the back of the petal fabric, like so, right there. There's my needle. And I just rock it. It's about 1/8 of an inch, I would say. And then I come straight up into the edge of the petal right there. I hope you can see my needle. So if you're new, I would just go down, right close to the edge, in between the petal and the circle paper. Come back and come up about 1/8 of an inch away. So if you're new, this is what you should do. So you kind of get the hang of it first. Notice how I didn't come through the center paper yet. And now you can come through here and catch the edge right there. And go back down in between the two paper, the gap, just a little bit away from where you came up. So that's if you're completely new to applique, but if you're kind of well versed in it, then just come up into the edge of the center. And from here on, we can just work our way like this. It's almost kind of like, what would you say? I think some people bind their quilts this way too. So you're just rocking your needle, catching the petal fabric, rock your needle, come back up about 1/8 of an inch away from where you went down, and catch the edge of the center circle. Right there. There we go. Hi, Zaza! Yes, Susan, it worked! Oh my gosh. Who'd have thunk, right? Technology. Just shut it all down and turn it back on. Let's see. And then I'm just going to keep on going. Does anyone have any questions? Ooh, Sonia received her templates on Friday. Oh, you're never too late, Sonia. There's plenty of time to catch up. Let's see. Now we can just go my way around. Hi, Zaza. You missed all the technical snafu, so you didn't miss much. And I just keep on going around here. And I thought it was all clever. I set it up and tested it, and still they got me, those tech gremlins. And I just worked my way around. Like so. Oops, that was a big honking stitch. And I recommend using a thread color that'll blend. It'll show even less. Mine, you can see a little bit of the black here, right? But that's only so you can see where my stitches are going. And they're not pretty on the back, but it doesn't matter. Like cross stitch stitches, I want them to be nice and pretty in the back. Same as embroidery. Sometimes it looks like a bird's nest back there, right? And for these, as long as the top looks neat and it's secured to the back, you're A-okay. Your stitches on the back do not have to look pretty. So don't worry about that. See how like ugly this is? Yeah. Oh lordy. But imagine your threads blending, it won't show. Plus it's not gonna show on the front anyways, right? So what I'm focused most on is that my stitches are in the ditch, basically, between the flower petal papers and the circle papers. And I just go all the way around. And doing it this way, when you sew a rounded shape to another background shape, you don't have to mess with snipping your fabric here to base the curved part, right? Because it's taut. You kind of just get to leave it, and then there's no snipping and worrying about cutting too much to base the piece, and then your piece is falling apart. Everything stays nice and put. I love it. So if you haven't tried this method yet, I would give it a try, see what you think, and try it 2 more times. Don't give up after the first try, because anything new, it'll take your hands. It'll give you take a little time for you to build up the muscle memory, right? But once you do, it'll be super quick. Oops, almost lost my thread there. Here we go. Oh, Lori, pie shape, same thing. So you would sew all your 6 pie shapes together so they are a circle, and then do the same thing with the pie shapes as we did with the full circle. So same concept. I hope that answers your question. And I'm almost done coming around. So this is another reason why I really like glue basting, because the center I chose for this petal set, right? It's already glue pasted on there, and then it's really fun on the go project. You just need to sew it down, but you have your center already matched up to the petals you want it to go with. Let me just repeat a stitch here. There we go. And then I'm going to the back for my last step. And just do that. Twist it around my needle and secure it with that knot. And then we can cut it off. And now this is sewn together, right? And it is black thread, but it's only so that it'll show on camera. See? Sewn together. And what's so neat now is that you don't have to remove the center paper yet, but if you want to, you definitely can. I'm going to take my pick-me-up. I'm just going to lift the glue basted seam allowance on the center circle. This here, right there. I'm just lifting it up. And if you found that you put a little bit too much glue and it's not coming undone, just give it a press with a hot iron just to warm up that glue a little bit and release it from the paper. And then I think this is all released now. Yes, I feel it. And now we can just pop the paper out. Bloop, like so. So there's no messing around with having to go in here and cut away fabric to get your paper out, right? It just pops right out. And you got a perfectly round center circle. Yay! I think we need a little celebration. My God, this was such a struggle to go on live today. So it's super easy to just remove your center papers after that. And let me scroll and make sure I didn't miss any questions. Let's see. I think we're good. Yay! So I know there's a little delay, so I'll give a few minutes. Ah, Susan, that is so right. New month, new rotation. Yes. So then we have two different edge varieties. Remember I mentioned these for the linear flower here. So if I choose this edge, my flowers will be on point on the hexagon shape, right? And if I choose this edge, it'll be half the petal here, like so. Oh no, like so. Zip, like halfway. Let me get some more papers. That's like that, like so. So the petal will be right in between, which meaning when your hexagon's on point, the flower will be going point to point sideways, right? So let me explain that. I think this will make more sense. It's like a little puzzle piece here, right? Anyway, so it was really nice to go shopping yesterday. We didn't expect to go, but then we're like, oh, why don't we go see what they have for like specials? And it was super nice to just go people watch too. It's always fun. And surprisingly, there wasn't crazy amount of traffic on the freeway either, which is always a super nice treat, especially around holidays. Usually it's like really, really heavy traffic, but we were lucky yesterday. And there we go. So look at the difference. See, the hexagons are both pointed, right? Point to point, top and down. But here the flower, oops, the petals are going from pointing side to side, right? Versus if I choose the edge one variation, notice if I just move the flower over, it won't fit. So I won't need to turn the flower a little bit, and the flower will be pointing with the petals up and down. So that's what I mean, okay? So you got two different edge variations, and what we can do, and put this away. So I think when you mix these two edge varieties, the two variations, you get movement in the flower. So they're not all just facing one way, they're going both ways. This and that way. Up and down, and then these petals going side to side. So you get a little movement in your project. Movement. So for the edge pieces, as I'm sure you have guessed already, we're going to follow the same concept as we did with the petals and the center circle or center pie, whichever you're choosing. What can we choose? That's a fun. Oh, let's just go with this contrasty purple. Oh, we got a little piece here. I'm gonna take this. So I got my two edge templates. I'm gonna use this one. I'm just gonna go ahead and trace around it. Salsa, are you all settled back home after your holidays? Let me just cut that out real quick. Let's see. Okay. And this part, you don't have to be like super exact. You just have to kind of get the rounded shape. But don't worry too much if it's not perfectly round because it's not going to show anyway. And then we have our little paper piece here. Oh, you're still recovering from the bed? Wait, was it uncomfortable? What happened? I don't know. I don't sleep well if I'm not sleeping in my own bed either. And I just put a little glue just to make sure I center my paper on the fabric. You don't have to, it's optional, but it just helps. Like so. And the order I like to glue paste my edge pieces, sides first. Leave the bottom, do the sides. And as always, we stay close to the edge, but not all the way to the edge, right? Right, Zaza? It just wasn't your bed. Yeah, it's just yeah. I remember like as a kid, like for sleepovers, kids would take their pillows with them. And I was like, why? But now it kind of makes sense. Even if the bed or if you're bunking with a lot of kids, like in sleeping bags, at least if you have your pillow, that's better than nothing. And then glue paste all the way into the fabric. Try to avoid glue pasting the edge. Like so. And like so. And the reason I like to do the sides first before the tops is that when you sew two shapes together, you can kind of lift this corner away so you don't sew through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 layers, right? When you have two pieces here, you can actually wiggle this out of the way, the little tail there, and just sew through the edge of the templates themselves. And notice we're not glue pasting the bottom here either. Let's just do one more real quick and I'll show you. You can if you want. These are absolutely possible to baste the end too if you want to. Let me just cut this one out real quick. But I've found doing it this way where you're not glue pasting the bottom edge saves you a lot of time and grief. And there's no need to fiddle around trying to be careful not to cut into the seam allowance too much, and I'll explain when I show you on this one. So traditionally, you might have been taught to do it this way. So I'm pretty positive this method is like applicable for any other rounded edges that you ever encounter. So let's do this rounded one since that's what we're trying to demo here. So obviously I glued the bottom, but this won't work, right? Because it's too tight. So what you need to do is actually you need to snip it. But here is where you need to be really careful that you don't snip too far, too close to the edge, because that's when your pieces will start to unravel and you'll be sad because you spend so much time working on your project, hand sewing it, and then when pieces unravel, yeah, that does not make us happy. Let me put some more glue again. So the reason we snip is so that we can baste it over the edge. See, that one I cut too close, I can tell already. But this is the only way you can get the fabric to relax by snipping it so that you can baste over a curved I think this is concave, right? I always get concave and convex confused. Like this concave corner, rounded shape. So you need to snip in, but notice how far I went. And this is where you have a lot of folks that end up, when they're sewing their pieces together later, it starts to get kind of like the run that you would get in your stockings, right? If you get a snag and then it's like, oh, I just got a new pair and then I got a snag already. So this is what would cause it when you snip it too close to the edge. But you want close enough that you get that super, super nice rounded shape here, right? But that's why I like to do it this way instead. There's no snipping and there's no chance of runs in your fabric or it unraveling. And then, but if you do want to try it this way, same concept after this, do the rounded part. Let me come and do the sides. So I did a few flowers when I was first experimenting with these templates and this design, and then I tried it this way and I was like, no, this is such a time suck and it's no fun when you're cutting too far in and then you need to redo your pieces. So then you have the difference is that. So you can try it, see if you like it. I prefer it this way though. So there's no room for any type of error. I'm not going to cut into anything. There won't be any issues. And then you would need to come and sew your petal straight to the edge like so, right? And this is tricky too. Actually sewing these. And this is when you would need to bend your papers to get that curved part sewn on correctly with the points. Oh, hi Vida! Oh, I'm so glad you made it! Yay! Hello! Super fun. Yeah, so I'm usually live on 1 o'clock 12 o'clock. Doink. I just lied. 12 o'clock. Live 12 o'clock Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock British time on Tuesdays. Today we had a funky donkey Dory experience with the camera just freezing and acting like, no, it's not going to do it. So I started the live stream over again, but I'm glad you found us. Yay! So Tuesdays here on my YouTube channel, and when the Facebook gods allow it, I stream on Facebook too. But it's been testing my patience lately. So this is how the shapes fit together, but I like doing it this way. And then I sew all my six shapes together. This one, I don't think oh yeah, like so. And then the flower, I glue baste the flower on top. And you can see the edges here are not basted either on my papers. See? And then we do it same way, sewing it together like we did with the petal and the center circle. And for those that do not believe Elmer's glue comes off easy, this one was glued many, many years ago. And I'm just going to undo it here for you, just to show you. Comes apart really, really easy. And this is why I love Elmer's glue. Easy to use and washable. Like so. And now I can just come back here and glue the edges again. So after you have all your edge pieces, 6 edge pieces sewn together, come and attach your flower just like we attached the center to the petals, and just glue it down. And now you have a little project you can take with you, come back to it, and start sewing, EPP appliquing the petals to the background templates. Wait, hold on. Let's see. The template you draw around has a seam along, so does that mean you need another template to draw around to make the paper piece? Yeah, so the paper piece would not work with these templates unless you trace and then remove a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So that way you would get the paper shape. You could do it that way. So you would reverse the process basically. So mainly I use the acrylic templates mainly for tracing fabric. But let's see, I know, let's see, Deborah, are you here? Did you get your templates? Deborah likes to use window templates. So you can always request it when you order templates. And then what I basically do, I cut all the template orders, plastic templates to order. So just let me know you want window templates, and then I can go ahead and remove the center. So you'll have a window template like this. This is for another project. Like this. Then you will get the fabric seam allowance on the outside. And then you could trace the paper shape on the inside. Julia, I hope that helps. Oh, ooh, that's so fun, Vita. So Tuesday's my quilting day with my quilt group, so I'm not usually home for the live. Oh, I'm so glad you were here today, though. Yay! Yay! Jazz hands. Okay. So this is the window template, and you can always request it in the comments when you place an order. So I think I started to put options for 1/4 inch seam allowance, 3/8 of a seam allowance, but window template, 1/4 inch window template, I can't fit it as one of the options. That's like one of the limitations with Etsy. Like you can only fit so many words in each drop down menu options, and then just request it if a window template is something you like. Or maybe I could truncate it somehow. But then I always get questions like, what does that abbreviation mean? Because no one reads my descriptions. But yeah, let me know if it's an option that you want me to start putting in window templates with each respective seam allowance too. So then you can trace the paper inside and the fabric on the outside. Definitely an option. So window templates, that's what we call it. So for next week, just go ahead and select which edge template you want to start with. So we have edge template variation 1 and edge template variation 2, whichever you choose. Pick 6 of either one, so you can sew together all 6. Let me remove. Oh no, I think I have floating edges here, so I don't need to pick this apart again. Poor little templates, like, why do you keep on pulling me apart? Oh, here we go. So I have edge templates here, so you can see. I just sewed them together. And here you can see the reasoning for my basting order here. Side, side, top, top, right? Side, side, top, top. That way all the tops line up really nice and clean and nothing is sticking out. Like so. Very nice and smooth. Oh, Zaza, I think you're like 1 in a million that you read the description. Yay, I love it. But did you notice on Etsy they moved where they're putting the description to now? I couldn't find I'm like, where did my description go? And it used to be on the side menu, and now it's under all the photos on the center. But I think they're testing, so it's not for every listing either. So they're doing something on Etsy too. So the day shall come and I can move all my listings to my own shop storefront. So see how you got smooth edges on top. And that is because of this basting order. Side, side, top, top. Okay? So I'm going to put side, side, top, top. There we go. And here, same here. Side, side, top, top. And here, that gives me a little wiggle room to move these little tails out of the way when I'm sewing 2 shapes together, right sides together. So I'm just going through all the way up to the corner there. And I can just fold these back. But this I can show you too next week if you need more help. But if you want to go ahead and get a head start, go ahead and sew your 6 pieces together. And then go ahead, take your, let's see, this is where I'm going to put it. Same thing as we did with the petal and the center. I'm just going to put glue on the seam allowance here, because I know that'll match up exactly with my edge pieces. I got that. And then I just line it up. This is white, so I can kind of see where the edge of the paper is, which is nice because my desk is dark. And then I line it up. And here, Lori, this is a good tip, especially when you're doing the pie shapes and when you're lining up your flowers to the petals. A good thing to keep in mind is, let me grab my little ruler. Where are you? Oh, the little one's hiding, so I'll grab the big one. Notice how the seam here is going straight through. So you want to match up your petals to the background pieces by the seam that they're sewn together by. Look up here, lined up. So same goes for the petals. Petals and the centers, right, Lori? See how everything lines up? The 6 pie shapes, the line of this connecting sewing sides, and the line sewing connecting the that you sew the 2 edge pieces together, they all align like so, like so. And that way you can tell your pieces are centered. Your center pie shape is centered on your petals, and your flower is centered on the edge pieces. So we just align them to the seams here. So super fun, super quick, and you can tell, right? See, yeah. You see, like, yeah, see. Oh, so Sasa reads the description, but you have to search for them. Yeah, I don't know why Etsy is making it so hard to find the description. Plus, they shrink it down. They like collapse it. So unless you know where to look and to actually expand the description, you won't be able to find it. Which is why I understand a lot of people why people don't read this description, because they don't know there's a description to read in the first place, right? Because it's hard to find. So I hope Etsy does something to fix that. So for your homework next week, sew 6 edge pieces together and just glue paste your flower to the edge pieces. Ta-da! And let's see if I missed any questions. Can you tell I'm like talking fast because I'm afraid like my camera's like gonna croak on me, or the internet is gonna croak on me. The faster I talk, the better we get. No. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna take a chance and just switch the camera. Lori, yeah, Lori. So if something doesn't make sense, just let me know. Because we're running out of time. I want to respect everyone's time and keep us on the hour. I can come back and show the pie shapes again next week. I don't mind that at all. I think we lost like 20 minutes because of my camera snafu here. So I could definitely squeeze that in next week, and then I'll also show you how to sew the petals to the background pieces. Let's see. I'm gonna take a chance here and switch camera. Oh, it worked. Hello. Oh my god, I think I've had like all the weird technical errors, and then my little dongle here is showing. We don't need you in the camera view. Out of the way, please. So next week, that's your homework for next week. And if you have any questions, please hop inside the EPP Society Facebook group and ask any questions you have. And if you haven't noticed, I went ahead and changed the Facebook banner. So if you're looking for the group from just by looking at Facebook banners, which is what I usually do, and then I'm like, I can't find the group. Where did it go? I'm like, oh, I've changed the Facebook banner. Doing. So it changed. So make sure you remember what it looks like, or just search for English Paper Piecing Society in search once you're in Facebook, and it'll pop up. Or better yet, save it as a favorite to your browser, right? And it's easier to get it that way. So next week, don't forget your homework for next week. Do one of these. Just glue based, and then we'll come back and sew them together, and then I'll make sure to go over the pie shapes too next week if you have any questions. And then thank you for bearing with me even with all the technical snafus lately. We're only getting better, right? There's only improvements to be made. So, and I will see you all next week, and I'll see you inside the Facebook group.